No child has ever met a great white shark at the local YMCA pool. Yet, if you're a parent of a 4 to 12-year-old, you've probably seen them absolutely terrified to jump into the deep end because of one. Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're unpacking exactly where this totally bizarre but incredibly common fear comes from, the clinical psychology behind it, and most importantly, an evidence-based plan to help your kid overcome it.
Let's start with a super basic but really revealing question. How many kids have actually met a shark in a swimming pool? The answer obviously is zero. I mean, unless they've been swimming in some heavily salted municipal water, right? No child has ever had a direct, threatening encounter with a predator at the local community pool. And this insight right here, this is our absolute biggest clue. Because there's no direct experience to draw from, this fear is completely fueled by movies, the news, and just hyperactive childhood imaginations. It's a fabricated threat, but the physical fear your child feels in their body, oh, that is incredibly real.
Part 1. The swimming pool predator, where fear really comes from.
Okay, so let's dive into this concept called vicarious acquisition. It's basically a fancy clinical term for learning to fear a threat not because it actually happened to you, but because you watched it happen to someone else, or maybe you saw it on a screen. You see, humans are evolutionarily hardwired to learn fears of predatory animals quickly. It's just the primal survival mechanism. So when a child sees a terrifying shark movie trailer or watches a really tense news report, their brain just rapidly files that under mortal danger. And here's a totally vital takeaway for us as parents. Children also vicariously acquire fear from our reactions. Because this fear is almost entirely fed by the media, a parent who stays completely calm and refuses to dramatize the whole idea of sharks is actually a major part of the fix. Your calm, grounded reaction signals to their little evolutionary brain that, hey, the environment is genuinely safe.
Moving on to part 2. The science of shark fear.
Now, what's really fascinating about this slide is how it breaks down the fear. Research shows us that this issue actually sits right at the intersection of two totally distinct types of specific phobias. On one side, you've got the animal-type phobia, that evolutionary dread of a large, toothy predator. But on the other side, you have the natural environment phobia, which in this case is deep, dark, or open water. Deep water adds this very realistic element of spatial uncertainty. Basically, your child just can't see what's below or around them, and that massively amplifies the feeling of an unpredictable threat. It's actually the exact same psychological mechanism that drives the fear of the dark. The monster isn't the water itself, it's the terrifying uncertainty of what the water might be hiding.
I do want to pause here for a quick moment of honest scientific framing. If you look at the literature, there is no dedicated, large-scale clinical trial specifically studying shark phobia in children. We're not going to pretend there is. But honestly, we don't need one. We have a massive, and I mean massive, highly applicable evidence base from the broader study of specific phobias in children, which, by the way, affect up to 5 to 10% of young people. Plus, we have comprehensive data on treating environmental and animal phobias. The mechanisms of fear and the treatments to resolve them, they remain exactly the same.
Part 3. Real evidence, real water.
So, what's the actual clinical solution? Well, data from a major UK study called the Aspect trial provides a super clear answer. They looked at 268 children. Now, traditionally, phobias have been treated with lengthy, multi-session cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT. But CBT can literally take months, it's expensive, and dropout rates are understandably pretty high. The Aspect trial compared standard CBT against something called one-session treatment, or OST. OST is just a single guided graduated exposure session that lasts about 3 hours. And guess what? At a 6-month follow-up, the brief one-session treatment was just as clinically effective as the lengthy multi-session therapy. Both significantly reduced the severity of the phobias. This is a real game changer because it proves that focused, structured exposure is incredibly powerful, and it doesn't always take months to achieve results.
Furthermore, when we look specifically at water-related fears, classic child research provides us with a really clear directive. Studies comparing different types of desensitization found that in vivo, meaning real-life, real water exposure, strongly outperformed in vitro, which is basically just sitting in a therapist's office imagining the water. So the crucial point here is that putting actual toes in actual water with a trusted adult comprehensively beats just talking about it or visualizing it on a couch. We absolutely have to get out of the living room and into the real environment.
Let's move on to part 4, the parent's action plan.
Okay, so your very first step as a parent is mental decoupling. You need to actively separate movie sharks from real water near me. For the sharks, your job is to reduce the media-driven catastrophizing. Talk logically about where sharks actually live, reframe the real risk, and frankly, just limit their exposure to scary media. Now for the deep water side of the equation, the focus shifts entirely to building actual swimming competence in safe, supervised, local settings. By actively separating the Hollywood fantasy of the movie monster from the reality of the local community pool, you make the fear concrete and totally manageable.
Once you've reframed the fear, you apply those principles of one-session treatment through graduated exposure. Here are your steps. Step 1. Start with supervised shallow water exposure. Stay right there in the shallow end where their feet firmly touch the bottom and they feel totally in control. Step 2 is a gradual progression to deeper water. In clinical settings, therapists wait until a child's anxiety drops by at least 50% before moving to the next step. You should do the exact same thing. Move just an inch deeper, wait for them to acclimate, and offer lots of high praise. And step 3, which is absolutely crucial, never, ever use flooding. Flooding is throwing a terrified child into the deep end to prove it's safe. No way. The science tells us this can deeply traumatize a child and make the phobia significantly worse. Slow, graded, and totally supervised steps are the key to building true water competence.
Part 5. Conquer fear. Keep caution. As we implement this plan, it is vital to remember this. Genuine water safety rules absolutely must stay intact. While we want to eliminate the phantom shark, we are trying to conquer a disproportionate, paralyzing fear. We are not trying to lower a child's healthy caution around deep water. Kids still need to know not to swim alone, to respect ocean currents, and to listen to lifeguard instructions. And finally, if the phobia is so severe that it entirely blocks basic swimming lessons or essential water safety training, well, that's the time to seek out a professional. Don't hesitate to consult a mental health professional who can formally guide your child through exposure therapy.
For the vast majority of parents, though, you've got the tools to help them through this right now. Keep this phrase in mind. Don't calm down, conquer. This isn't about just soothing a child and letting them avoid the deep end forever, because avoidance only strengthens a phobia over time. Instead, this approach is about an active, structured victory over an evolutionary glitch. You are empowering your child to face the water, understand their fear, and confidently step past it.
So, I'll leave you with this. Why let a movie monster steal the real-world joy and safety of learning to swim? Your child has incredible potential for water confidence, and with the structured, patient approach, you can absolutely help them unlock it. And hey, if you're looking for a great tool to assist with this process, check out the Fear Me Not app. It's specifically designed to help kids separate real risk from movie-fueled fear and build true water confidence step by step. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Now, go grab those swimsuits, start in the shallow end, and help them take that first confident splash.